topic. Are you an active versus passive music listener?
Yeah.
Meaning,
That's your question.
Yeah.
What?
So that one's mine. So my brother and I were talking, it's been a few weeks now, but we were talking about music, and my brother is a lot more creative. He's an English teacher in high school, and he's just really, really brilliant about how he goes about things. But he was asking me when I listen to music, because he knows how much I love music, do I listen to it for the content, like the lyrics, and I guess the melody and the things like that. Am I actively listening to the song, or am I passively listening, which is, you're kind of just enjoying the music for the mood. You're listening to it act or passively, and you're just enjoying the music. So I found definitions of passive listening, and the key part here that I thought was interesting is it says not doing anything else at the same time except for driving or cleaning dishes or whatever. But the key thing is yet not really paying attention to what is being said. However, active listening this is where you make a conscious effort to hear not only the words that another person is saying, but more importantly, the complete message being communicated. So to me, that's the key, is the complete message being communicated. As an active listener, are you trying to listen to what the artist is saying in the song, or as a passive listener, are you just kind of enjoying the vibe of the music? And personally, I'm a passive listener. And unless I'm like reviewing a speaker, I'm not really trying to, get in tune with what's going on in the song, and instruments are over here and all this stuff. Most of the time I'm just listening to the radio as I'm driving down the road or something like that. So I am definitely a passive listener. So I was curious, what you guys would consider yourselves as out there.
All right. Well, I would say depends on the situation, right? It's not like I'm actively listening all the time. If you're listening to music and washing dishes, man, that's a lot of, I don't have enough brain power to do both perfectly. Definitely. It's going to be some spotty dishes and some spotty cups if I'm trying to interpret what the guy's trying to say and what he means and all that stuff. And I think a lot of times it's repetition, right? If you've heard a song numerous times, later on, sometimes you might not be actively listening, but you might be like, oh, hold on a second. Is that what that guy means? Oh, it is. That's kind of crazy.
Years later.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like songs I heard as a kid or a teenager, I hear them now and I'm like, oh, that song actually resonates now, or I understand what it means now,
Or sometimes you I don't know if you ever looked up the lyrics like, oh, hold on a second. I thought he said something else there. And then the lyrics like, oh, okay, that makes more sense, right?
Now. Yes.
Yeah. So, and then active versus passive listening. So passive listening would be if your focus is on something else, right? But what happens if you're dancing? Does that mean that you're actively listening? Right? Let's say if you're like, these dance, I posted a video of these guys that are like dancing, right? They're hitting every single beat, right?
Yeah.
And in that case, that must be active. They must be actively listening, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise they hear the little ding and then they do something different, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's different ways to listen actively, right? So let's just say this, what if the music is supposed to move you and you're there and sitting like an audiophile, like, is that, the intention was for you to get up and move. Okay. So, I mean, are you feeling the vibe? I don't know. I mean, that's
I can
different way to put
feel
it.
the vibe and be completely reserved.
Yeah.
Well,
My excitement.
and so it's interesting. I'm interested in what Chana has to say because your job is to make people move, right? Your job is to read the room, create the vibe that you want, right? So what's your stance?
Here's what I do. And here's what, I tell this to the teenager, because it's the easy thing if he's at a party or whatever. Look, you want the party to be good. All you got to do is get the girls to dance. Once you get the girls dancing, then everything is good, right? Yeah. And so what I do, especially at a wedding, because it's a long, drawn out 6 hours worth of music I play, right? The DJing actually is only an hour and a half. So what I do, once they started getting liquored up from the cocktail hour, I watch the tables and I'll play some like cool like remakes of songs that are just acoustic, stripped down. And whoever's singing along to the songs and snapping and bobbing, I'm like, okay, I need to get her dancing. I need to get her dancing. I need to get her. I usually pick like 3 people. And then that's it. I just get them dancing, and they'll take everybody to the dance floor, right? It's because they are the ones that are actively listening, and they're the ones that are actually having more fun, right? And so I'm playing 6 hours worth of music. So there's a lot of music, and I keep it just underneath, talking, normal conversational situation, and yeah, that's it. It's easy. You just get those 3-4 people dancing, and that was it. That's it. Yeah, and keep the girls happy. That's all. That's all. It's not rocket science. I mean, the cool stuff when I'm doing is what I'm doing when I'm doing my DJ set here at the house, because I'll have this like even on Saturday, like half an hour in on my mix. Oh, I made this awesome mix with like one song was brand new, one song wasn't new, and it was just the melody, the little arpeggio was perfect, and I found the new song in the same key, same musical key, and then I just went straight to the vocal and just laid the vocal right on top, and it was just magic. And that's because of what the words were saying and how it like fell on top of or integrated with the instrumental from the other song. So
yeah,
clearly I'm an active listener. So
apparently
I was reviewing these focals, right? And I had the puppy on my lap, and Sasha was off at work, and the kid was downstairs doing whatever. And I'm listening to drumming song, Florence and the Machine, and I got my eyes closed. I'm just like, doing this, one of these, singing along, and after the big climax or whatever, I open my eyes and he's like in the kitchen. So what the hell did he see when he came up the stairs?
Oh, wow.
As it's drumming inside of my head, it told him that I'm just singing along and listening as loud as fuck. So clearly he's probably like, oh, he's having a good time.
No judgment zone.
And like, even when I was at CES, like listening to speakers, and what if I put on my songs, I'm like, my body's moving.
Yeah.
Like there, there's, I don't know. I people that just sit there and just look at the speakers, and it's they don't move. It's really weird. It's really weird to me, but whatever.
There's levels. I would just say there's levels to it. I'm just looking at the Wu-Tang lyrics for Triumph, right? And he says, "Giving sight to the blind, the dumb are mostly intrigued by the drum." Remember that line?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Interesting. Yeah.
So that's one aspect of it, right? The drum. Yeah. But then he's also, what is he saying with his words, right? So there's multiple levels, I would say, when it comes to music, right? Mm-hmm. Depending on sometimes you just want to get into it and pay attention to all the levels.